So today I want to talk about the 2K momentum system. It is something I have complained about on Twitter for a while. Although they have never actually claimed this exists, I've seen other people complain about similar effects, and that's the title I came up with. Although I have heard other people say this. And by the way, the only reason I'm using this different version of the Warriors jersey, the away jersey instead of the sleeve jerseys, is because the game was messed up with the servers, and I couldn't use my Emerald players like LaMarcus Aldridge, and I couldn't use my DLC jerseys like the ones that came out later on, like like the sleeve jerseys, like the All-Star ones and things like that. Anyway, now I've been complaining about the momentum system for a while, and you guys know that I don't really have a reason to make an excuse because I win most of my games. I don't win every game. I've uploaded some losses in the past. Well, actually I don't lose tournament games, but I win most, like a really high percentage of my games that I play. And inside of this game, it was going the standard way. The guy never led at any point. I was pretty much dominating him. I was shooting like 70% for the first half. The third quarter I had like 60-something%. So this game's going the way it's supposed to go. Nothing really unusual. I got a half offense, half defense lineup. Because I have offensive lineup, I have a defensive lineup, and every once in a while I like to mix it up. So anyway, now what is the momentum system? It can mean different things to different people, but this is what it means to me based off of all of my games, and I played a lot of my team. Probably a little bit less than most commentators, but that doesn't mean I don't understand it. So these are the things I tend to notice when I'm looking at the momentum system, which you guys will see in full effect during this video, as I'm currently up by 12. Remember that, 12 or 4 minutes. So sometimes players start going on fast, seemingly unstoppable runs, similar to a real-life basketball game, because in real life basketball is a game of runs. But the problem is that every player in a video game on 2K isn't as talented as an NBA team. The level of parity does not exist between two people. Like if I'm playing against, 12-year-old Cody, he probably does not understand basketball on the same level as I am, so sometimes the games could get a little lopsided, or if he's taking ridiculous shots, or sometimes if I'm playing against like another person who may understand it, they may start coming up with a strategy. So that's when sometimes the game can end up being close, but if it's not that, then this doesn't really exist normally. The offensive rebounds, sometimes you'll notice that they start to come very often inside of a quarter. Like you'll see a guy get 3 or 4 in one possession. Somehow you're not managing to be out there to guard the 3, and you're somehow not there inside the paint to grab the rebound. Like, where are your players? Are they on the bench? I don't. Sometimes the defensive players walk off of their assignments. It's just, have you ever seen them not help out with a double team, but just walk off and just wait like in the middle in the paint? It makes no sense at times. Or sometimes they come from double teams, and I don't mean like I'll be on the left side of the court and the guy all the way at the right, he'll come over. Not the guy one pass away, not the guy in the middle inside of a zone, but the guy who is all the way across, so then they make a full quarter, they make a diagonal pass across the court, and they get an easy score. It's ridiculous, and sometimes, when you're not even calling for it, and you can't stop it at times. Like right there, like my player could not catch the ball, and then the cued passes made me throw a turnover. But that happens sometimes. I haven't scored in a while, and now the guy's only down by 2. He's shooting 6 out of 7, whatever. Another thing you'll notice is what just happened to me is that you'll see a high turnover ratio and a weird type of turnover, or a bunch of weird turnovers inside a short period of time. Like you'll see passes flying out of bounds. Like I could be using Darren Williams at the 3-point line, throw it to the guy at the top of the key and he'll miss it somehow. Or throw it to the guy at the 3-point line by himself and they'll just fly out of bounds as if Darren Williams doesn't have a 95 pass rating. Sometimes you'll see players, they'll quick out of nowhere, they'll just cut on their own like you did a lead pass. And they'll just jump behind another player and you'll get an instant turnover that you weren't expecting. Like no longer is a wide open 3. For some reason, your player decided to go jump into the paint. I don't know. Sometimes you'll have one guy on one side of the court in an isolation play, and you'll try to pass it to him with a directional pass, like normal. You hold to the left, you should throw it to the left. But instead, they'll throw it to the most contested guy on the right. It makes no sense at times. Like there are times when directional passes are so bad that it's not you making a mistake, it is the game taking over. Sometimes, and there's a lot more that I've noticed about this game. Sometimes offensive players, they make just tough, bad, highly contested, like late release shots. Like, I was playing a game yesterday, right? And I was up by 40 in the fourth quarter. The guy managed to bring it down to 20 because, not Kyle Korver, Kirk freaking Heinrich made like 8 threes in the fourth quarter. He was being guarded by Joe Dumars, and that's the reason why I took Joe. Oh, I shouldn't be spoiling this because you guys don't know I have him yet. But that's the reason why I took Joe Dumars off my team with his 97 on-ball defense. Kirk Heinrich just kept doing a little. I was guarding on my own. I let the computer guard him. I did everything I could. Kirk Heinrich was just making 3 after 3 after 3. He finished with 37 points. He shot 23 threes and made 11. And when he was missing, he was getting the offensive rebound. It was ridiculous. Like his shot in traffic and his shot off the dribble were just ridiculous. It made no sense. He was making contested threes, but that's what happens when you're down by a lot. The game just starts making stuff that you just shouldn't be making.
You know, it really just doesn't seem possible they could hit this many shots in a row at this time of the game.
Of course, Clark Kellogg, it really isn't possible. Look at the stats. The guy is 26 and 9. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. How did he manage to make pretty much every shot he took this quarter after I was shutting him down for an entire game before it started? The game, at this point, he had 9 steals in this quarter. And if you guys were watching, you'll see a whole bunch of passes that just were either late or passes that shouldn't have happened, or the players are just fumbling the ball. Just now, I threw an alley-oop, and the ball went through the hoop, and I still missed the shot. And just now, I go for a push-off, and then I shoot it with Scottie Pippen very early when he's in the air already. Like, what else? You know, sometimes it just messes up. But the very early thing happens every once in a while. Sometimes you'll be shooting jump shots with a wide open player and he'll just keep missing it. Like that happened to me before with Warriors players. Another thing you might see sometimes when the momentum system's happening is that all of this stuff will happen in a very short period of time, like this one quarter. I managed to go score 62 and 3 and then 9 in the fourth. He had 7 dunks in the fourth quarter. And right here, Larry Johnson versus Derrick Rose. I win the tip-off, and I can't even beat Derrick Rose in a tip-off at the end, and I jumped first. I don't like to make excuses, because I usually don't have to, but this was just one of the most ridiculous. And I have plenty of evidence of quarters where things like this happen. Sometimes I win them. Most of the time I win them. And then there's been a very few amount of times that I've lost them. But the fact is that this shouldn't happen, and this definitely didn't happen in 2K12. 2K12 was a brutal game. Inside this one, you can score 26 to 9 in the fourth quarter, getting twice the amount of shots, while in the first half, a guy can shoot 74%. And without changing your play style, you somehow become successful. Crazy.